Kiratu, Eric Shieni, David Chege, Bisley Kamau, Ibrahim Kamau, Kennedy Onyango, Abdi Kadir, Charles Ngere, Ikebath Mukei. These are just 10 names of the people that lost their lives. Lest we forget that the reason that we are talking about this today is because the country reached a point where our children rose up and said, enough is enough. And why did they say enough is enough? It's because they can see that the country was not going in the right direction. We, as representatives of the people, failed to actually do the job that we were elected to do. All three arms of government failed the people of Kenya. And because we failed the people of Kenya, we're here discussing the budget. Now, the budget that we have to ask ourselves some really hard questions. Questions because I can see, I recently saw the strike notices coming out left, right, and center. Everybody wants collective bargaining agreements that were agreed, honored. People want jobs that were promised, people hired. We have shortages of teachers, we have shortages of medics, we have people who are past retirement age still in government. We have to really start cleaning up. And cleaning up, if we can't do it ourselves, what we had with the Gen Z revolution or protest recently was like a tremor. The earthquake is what we should avoid. And we can avoid it if we actually listen and act on everything that they're saying. Because you know what? These are not strangers coming to tell us how to run our country. These are not strangers telling us that there's a lot of waste. These are not strangers telling us there's a lot of theft and a lot of corruption. These are our children. These are Kenyans. These are people that the Constitution swore to protect. But then when I come to think about it, I also feel sometimes that maybe we need to really sit down and revisit this Constitution. You know, do we really need 47 counties? Did we actually start this exorbitant expenditure when we passed our Constitution, where we decided to have so many counties? I mean, I was trying to draw a parallel with California. California is got the population of Kenya and has 150 elected representatives versus our 2,000. California has a GDP of probably the entire continent of Africa. And here in Kenya, we, right now, when we think about it, we are, I think, overrepresented. California has CEOs running the various state boroughs that they have within their state. So I think we really need to look at, and we need to do it quickly. We need to look at, one, are our laws adequate when it comes to fighting corruption? Because the former president said we're losing 2 billion a day, which comes to about 700 billion. We definitely need money to be able to get this country right. And if we actually deal with corruption, we should be able to do this. But are we putting money into dealing with corruption? Are we putting the legislation and the structures in place to deal with corruption? Because if we are not, then we're going to have a problem. I saw some videos running around on social media after we did the vetting, and so many people questioning the wealth of many of the people that we're vetting. I too wonder, how do people make that kind of money? Because I've had businesses that have collapsed, businesses that have done well, and I don't have that kind of wealth, and I don't want that kind of wealth. Because at the end of the day, it's ridiculous for one person to be worth so much, and the only job that they've ever had is a public servant. You know, I think it's like egg on the face of the people that have elected us to do the work. When we look at the basic the sharing of the monies that we give to the counties, we have the basic share of 20%, population 18%, health at 17%, poverty levels at 14%, agriculture at 10%, roads at 8%, lands at 8%, and urban at 5%. I have a feeling that when we come up with 7.8 in equalization, Are we asking ourselves whether the money we've already given them is actually had an impact on poverty alleviation? Devolution was supposed to sort that. Some of the counties that are so poor that children are still studying under the trees have been given billions of shillings since we started with devolution. So we obviously have a problem, and yet the governors that have left those counties are billionaires today, shamefully. So I feel that while we're looking at the revenue sharing, while we're looking at the monies at the various, to all the government and the three arms of government, I think the most important thing that we have to look at is pending bills. I mean, we should have, as a government and counties, you know, we've actually impoverished a lot of Kenyans. We've taken services from Kenyans and we've not paid them. And we're not even providing. We keep having committee after committee. And these are Kenyans who've actually employed people, borrowed money from banks that have actually now, some of them are committing suicide, some of them are actually having serious mental health issues. We have to be a country that cares. And for us to be a country that cares, we actually have to have a holistic approach. So I really pray and hope that somehow the three arms of government will sit down together and actually have a conversation about where we went wrong, what are we doing right, and then directing us to ensure that we do right. I know we want to say that we're independent, right? But we're all dependent on each other. And that interdependence means we have to have a conversation. And that conversation is, are we going to allow the tremors that we felt with the Gen Z protest become an earthquake that engulfs all of us? Or are we going to deal with it that we never have a tremor again because we did the right thing? History will judge us. The 2024 finance bill is a gap and a void in our history. But there are deaths. There are people that died. There are businesses that were looted. There are people that have suffered irreparable damage. Loss of life can never be replaced. If this country doesn't change, then it was in vain. So we have to make sure that history does not judge us harshly. The 13th Parliament has got a big job to do, and it's not just about bringing budgets and bringing appropriation bills and division of revenue bills. It's about getting it right. It's about listening and acting on everything that the Gen Zs have put on the table. Every single day, I see them doing a better job than EACC in telling us how the counties are actually stealing money. They're going to continue doing that on a daily basis. They're going to expose everything. No one is actually going to do anything anymore in this country that will not be exposed. So let's change our direction. Let's change the direction to the dreams of our forefathers when they coined the national anthem, when they actually fought for our independence. Because what we have done is we have taken that independence and thrown this country to the dogs. Let us bring Kenya back its lost glory. And that requires us being serious. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support.
The Honorable Naomi Wako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important debate as I congratulate the committee for the great work they have done. Some few weeks or months ago, we passed our finance bill, after which many things have happened, and Kenya has gone through things as a result of rejection of that finance bill. Our dream was the finance bill will go through and that this government will be able to achieve all its goals and also empower the people in different ways. Our dream was to bring that transformative agenda and effectively work on it. Unfortunately, it did not work. And John Stott, in one of his books, said that the world is suffering because we lack a listening ear. And many honorable members have said that we have failed in a way, but the truth of the matter is, yes, that has come, and what the country has gone through has served as a wake-up call. And that is why today we are here to support this Division of Revenue Amendment Bill that will guide us on how we'll be sharing the revenue. Honorable Speaker, just to touch on devolution, with the coming of devolution, many of marginalized areas, many counties have seen the light of the day, have benefited, and devolution in different ways have empowered people, have brought development, and people have experienced some growth. Unfortunately, we also have some negative happenings as a result of devolution, but if you look at the positive, the growth that many counties or many areas have gone through is from the time that we have put into consideration devolution. If we want to use our resources effectively and efficiently, we must be good stewards. Honorable Speaker, what happened into our country, what happened to us, was not good. And internationally, it has brought us down. It has had some negative impact. And as a result of that, we are now experiencing budget cut that affects every area. And as we do that, we need to just make sure that every county needs to be more responsible, more accountable. The CEOs, the governors in place, we have a lot of gaps. We have a lot of corruption going on. And that is why we need to do proper audit so that the issue of ghost workers, we will get rid of that. The issue of corruption, the issue of nepotism, and other things that are highly practiced in all parts of this country will be reduced so that we make good use of the resources that God has given us. Honorable Speaker, in the budget that we passed, promotion of local manufacturers, we wanted to increase our own wealth. We wanted to increase export, and then reduce import so that we can create our own wealth. But unfortunately, that has not happened. And that is why today I support this bill so that we encourage ourselves to live within our means and use the resources. I want to congratulate the members of Parliament for denying ourselves. I was in 12th Parliament. We had more opportunities. We traveled a lot. We had good things. But today, it is totally different. With all that, we need to know the negative impact